Hello and welcome to the program. I am your host, Phatman.
And I'm Littleboy.
And this is our weekly Netcast podcast for
October 2nd, 2012.
Good, he got it down right. As we said last week, I wasn't supposed to be here this week, but my surgery didn't pan out. Messing around with the insurance company, because that's what they do for a living. They like to mess with you.
They're about making money and nothing else.
Yeah, well, that's where we're at. Littleboy, how was your week? Although, wait a minute, before we get into your week.
Yeah.
Littleboy's pissy today.
Well, yes, I'm a little pissy today.
I'm not quite sure why, but he's very pissy
Phatman
today.
spends most of his life being pissy. I get 1 or 2 days a year. I think I'm entitled to 1 or 2 pissy days a year.
I don't spend my life pissy. I'm never pissy.
You spend your life making everybody around you pissy.
But I don't get pissy.
The fact that I can only get pissy for a couple days a year is a testament to my patience.
All right, fine. Littleboy, how was your week?
Yeah, I just been really busy. We've had some personnel changes at work, so things, stress level goes up a little bit. But we're hanging in there.
All right.
It'll be fine. I'll be better next Tuesday. I just felt real busy the last few days.
So did you not want to do the show tonight?
No, that's not true at all.
I'm asking you the question. Did you not want to do the show tonight?
Did I not want to do the show? I want to make sure I answer that correctly. I wanted to do the show. I didn't want to say yes or no because I didn't know how you kind of did the double negative thing on me there.
What? Okay,
did
whatever.
Did you not want to do the show? No, I did not want to do the show. Yes, I wanted to do the show.
Would you rather had not done the show tonight?
I would have rather done the show than
okay,
not
good.
done the show.
Then that's it. Okay, wait. What'd you just say?
I would have rather done the show than not do the show.
Oh, okay. All right. Littleboy, we have a big show today. We have producer Jen back in the box, which means we're going to be kicked off real quick.
Yes.
So let's get into our first story of the day.
Yeah, you put the stories up this week.
I did.
We'll have to see where you take us.
Well, I'm going to first take you. Have you ever heard of Jon McNaughton?
I've heard of Jon McLaughlin.
Have you ever heard of Jon McNaughton?
No, not until today.
He is a artist in Utah. He is very outspoken anti-Obama artist.
Okay.
And he did a few pictures. There's a couple up behind us right now. You'll see back and forth. And the first one that I saw, although it happened in a different order, the first one that I saw today was A Man Forgotten. Okay. And I wanted to
What is that? Because you put this up, and when I tried to view it, it was actually had been taken down, so I couldn't see it.
Oh, really?
Called The Forgotten Man.
The Forgotten Man, yeah. It's a great picture that he painted. Basically, it's all the presidents, all of them, behind a man who is sitting on a park bench, and he looks very distraught and very upset. Then it has President Obama standing, stepping on the Constitution. Okay. Now, he is anti-Obama, so we have to say that that's what he is. But it was for me, it was a very interesting painting because you don't see art like that. I mean, we saw a lot of illustrations messing with Bush, and stuff like that during the wars. But you don't see someone who's an actual really great artist painting something like this.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
Well, you don't see them in the news. I just never see. I saw a lot of anti-Bush stuff, but I mean, you just never see the anti-Obama stuff.
I didn't see any anti-Bush artists either. You see the political cartoons, but you're going to find political cartoons going both ways. You can't count those as
no, but I've seen art.
Actual art. I've never
this.
seen any anti-Bush art or anti-Obama art. I just never have.
Oh, this guy is definitely anti-Obama.
Except that you brought this up. This is the first time I've ever even
Well, the reason why I'm bringing this whole thing up is he's done quite a few paintings, but there's 2 paintings that are in the news right now. The second one that he did, it depicts the president holding the Constitution and it's burning.
Okay.
And this particular painting was sold to Sean Hannity.
Oh my gosh, what a surprise.
Well, we're getting into the story, why the story is. Now, Sean Hannity lives in a New York area, and he frequents the Brooklyn Museum of Art.
Okay.
And he was going to loan this picture to the Brooklyn Museum of Art. I guess if you're very wealthy, you can loan your paintings to museums.
I've heard of that before.
Yeah. And he was going to do that, but they turned the painting down.
Okay.
Interesting enough, while he was walking through, now, Sean Hannity is very Republican, very conservative. So he's going to, this definitely is something he wants to talk about, right?
Okay.
But there is anti-Bush paintings in there. Okay. Just like the paintings that you say you haven't seen, but they are on.
No, I'm not
there.
saying they don't. I'm not saying they don't exist.
I know. But also they have how do you say that?
Caricatures.
Caricatures of his presidency, and this painting was anti-Obama. They turned it down.
Did they say why?
They just said that they were not interested.
Okay.
They didn't say anything other than they're just not interested. Now they have.
So you're saying that the Brooklyn Museum of Art turned it down strictly because they are liberal and
no,
they don't.
I'm asking a question.
Okay.
I haven't finished my question.
All right.
So now I have no idea if they're liberal or not. Now
Right.
New York. I mean, I've lived in New York. I know New York a bit, and it is pretty liberal. So I mean, I don't know that they are, but it is. The question I have is, this museum gets funded by the federal government, which most museums do. They get grants and stuff like that. If it was politically motivated, because we won't know for sure.
All right.
Again, we get into using federal tax dollars and then having an agenda with that.
Okay.
Do you feel that that's a good thing or a bad thing?
No, it's a bad thing. Of course it's a bad thing.
Okay. So this particular museum, if that's why they didn't put it in, of course they're not going to say why they didn't put it in. Should they be grounded from government funding?
My guess is they're going to give a reason why. I think that if you really feel that the reason why they turn this down is because they are pro-Obama, then for this, you can't just use this one incident and say we're going to cut off your funding. You're going to have to look, and you're going to have to do some studies, and you're going to have to do some research. Now, nothing in this whole world is going to be 50-50 you're not going to find that. You know, everybody says I'm nonpartisan. Everything is going to skew one way or the other. If you're going to look at this museum and they are always turning down one and putting up the other, and it's very obvious and stuff, I definitely think it needs to be brought to their attention. But there could have been many, many reasons. Maybe the art's just bad. Maybe it's just a bad piece of art, and they said, no, we don't like crap. I mean, I could draw something and try and, loan it to them, and they're going to say, we don't want that.
But you haven't seen it. It's actually a really good painting.
I didn't say it was bad, and you...
Maybe it is. Maybe that's what you're saying. Maybe it is.
I'm saying maybe it is, and what I'm saying is you're not an art critic. You happen to like it, but you aren't an art critic, so, maybe it's bad. It's just something that you like. There's lots of stuff that I like that,
Well, the reason I'm asking you this question is... Mm-hmm. What if it was a religious painting, or it was an atheist painting, and the museum was full of religious art, and they said, no, we don't want an atheist painting in here, or they did the same kind of thing. The museum's
Phatman?
complete. Yes, go ahead.
I do have a question for you before we go on from that.
Are you on live?
I am.
Okay.
Is it a museum quality painting?
Absolutely.
How do you?
In your opinion?
Well, because
you don't know. You don't know if it's museum quality or not.
Well, I mean, you're talking in this particular museum, they have caricature. Why can't I say that?
Caricatures, but
are you saying that those are museum quality?
It's a portrait, basically.
It is.
So if it's not considered museum quality, I don't know. I'm not taking one side or the other. I'm just saying that could be a possibility because I haven't seen a large enough version of the picture to understand how good it is.
I could understand exactly what you're coming from. Now, if you go to his website, Jon McNaughton Art, you'll see that he is in multiple museums all over the country. So it's interesting to me because I'm just trying to change the thing over a little bit. What if it was that they only took religious art?
If they're only taking religious art, but they're only choosing, let's say, Christian art or something like that, and nothing else, I mean, and that's the sole basis for why? No, I don't think that's right. I think you need to. I don't think any of that stuff has to be. I don't think any of that stuff should have any bearing. I think the bottom line is whether or not it's good art, if it's worthy of being in that museum or not.
And that's an interesting thing that you brought up because John Colbert. Now we know that he's just he does that was taken down today already. The Colbert thing.
Yeah,
that was quick.
And when I went there, it said this has been removed.
Oh wow. Anyway, he did a little skit about it and was talking about the museum and where it came from and whatnot. He showed other art paintings that were there. Mm-hmm. And his exact argument was, what if, they're taking it because it's not art? Because maybe that's the excuse they're using, except that he was showing basic stick pictures.
Right, but I bet you there are stick pictures that in that specific context are art. I mean, you have a canvas that can have splashes of color.
Yeah,
and
they take that too.
It just depends. Maybe that's something that just didn't fit in there. There's hundreds of reasons why, but I think if the bottom line was it was turned down because it was something that was anti-Obama, I disagree with it completely.
Okay.
I disagree with that completely.
That's good. I'm glad that we had this. Now, I only can go by the evidence that we have on it.
Which is none.
Except that.
Which is none.
No, except that.
You can only go by the results, but there's no evidence of anything.
Why they wouldn't take that painting, but yet they have paintings that, are on the opposite side.
You're just basing it.
If you were just looking at it at face value.
Right.
Let's just take a face value thing.
Then it's wrong.
I think it's wrong.
Of course.
And I believe that if that's going to happen, the funding needs to go.
Sure. I think that they need to crack down on all sorts of stuff.
But I think that same funding issue should be done in colleges when you have, and we talked about this, about having a lot more, having a huge liberal push.
I think that you're going to have more liberal colleges. Teachers because...
I know those who can't teach and all that, but I'm just saying.
No. You say that, I don't say that. So let's be very clear here.
But what I'm saying is, if we're going to cut funding, because we talked about this last week about nonprofits and stuff,
if you're going to cut
funding
to a university, you're going to cut funding because they won't hire a teacher because they are conservative, not because specific teachers are teaching certain ways. But if a university is saying we're not going to hire that teacher because they're not liberal, then they should have their funding cut as well.
Okay,
but if you have
that's in hiring. But what about in you can say the same thing for nonprofits then, and you can say the same thing for churches. You don't. No. I'm just asking if. You don't like
because I'm not allowed to say my opinion on churches. You just start screaming.
No. What I'm saying is, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander kind of thing. And I do believe that schools, it's not if you hire, it's that they should not be allowed to teach it. If they're going to push their agenda, they're going to lose the funding. I mean, I don't see a problem.
I think that's a tough thing to.
Why?
I think that's going to be a tough.
What if it was the exact opposite?
I said I think that's going to be a tough thing to enforce. But if that's what they end up becoming the law, I wouldn't have a problem with that, to be honest with you, either. I really wouldn't.
I'm very glad that we had that conversation. Let's go into the next step.
Let's move on.
Now, are you up on foreign events and
it depends.
And foreign...
the whole North Korea and South Korea thing, I'm not. I did a little bit of reading before the show. I don't really pay too much attention. I know that the Supreme Leader died, and that guy was awesome. I don't know if you've read about some stuff that guy did.
Oh, yeah, I have.
That guy's got all these hole-in-ones. He's created all these movies.
Unbelievable.
That guy is... I have read about that guy. That guy is...
Done everything.
That guy could kick Chuck Norris's ass. Yeah. That's what that guy could do.
And he's like 2'2".
He's more interesting than the most interesting man in the world.
Yes,
he is. So now his son has taken over. I know that they tried to launch that rocket that fell into the water, which everybody figured would.
Yeah.
That's. I've just told you everything I know about North and South Korea, I think, right there.
Well, there was a movie that I don't know if you've got to see yet. It's The World Without Us.
I have not. You told me about that. I do want to still want to see it.
Very interesting show, and it's about if the U.S. military basically pulled out of everywhere, but just came into the U.S.
If we basically isolated ourselves.
Yeah, and just said, we protect our borders and that's
it. If Ron Paul took over, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah,
God,
that would have been just the military. Right? It was everything. Aid.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was everything. Just if we pulled out,
we're United States, you guys take care of you, we take care of us.
If we pulled a France or something, it'd be like...
France is not like that.
Oh, gosh, really? Have you seen France helping us lately?
Just because they're not helping us doesn't mean they're isolation.
Have you seen them help anybody? Ever?
Move on from France.
Anyway, I don't like the French.
Well, of course you don't.
I don't like the French. Well, anyway.
There's a guy, gentleman at my work. His name is Jack. He passed away a few years ago. A great buddy. I think about you every day, Jack. And he used to say that he found on eBay, it was a gun from the French army. It says, for sale on eBay, a gun from the French army, never fired, dropped once.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. Well, anyway, it's basically what's happening.
Our producer's lagging here laughing.
I know. What's happening there in the Pacific Rim nations is we have the Chinese military, the Navy, who just purchased a aircraft carrier.
Okay.
They have said they want to become the dominant force in that area.
Okay.
Which, to be honest with you, whatever. You want to become the dominant force, great, do it. I think that something's going to happen with North Korea, but I don't believe that it's going to happen now or if President Obama wins in the next 4 years. And what I wanted to ask you is, what do you tell the Korean president who tells the UN General Assembly that he blames the U.S. for the reason why they're going to be annihilated? Because now Seoul is like within less than 100 miles. I think it's 50 miles from North Korea. There's no way they can't miss them. I mean, they can hit them. You know what I mean? With a nuke.
Well, you're talking about, they said North and South Korea are on the verge of nuclear war.
Yeah,
I don't think you said that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I never got to that point. Yeah. And that's what he says. This is what
he says
the
the
vice foreign minister
States
said. And he blames the U.S.
Well, the U.S. gets blamed for a whole lot of stuff.
Well, absolutely. I don't know what we could do to, solve that problem. But at the same time,
I'll tell you, ultimately, any country involved with a nuclear war with any country is bad.
Oh, of course.
And we need to do everything we can to prevent that from happening, I believe, because it's no good comes when you start dropping bombs,
Well, North Korea has their own. South Korea does not have theirs. South Korea has ours. So the question is, South Korea, if they get nuked by North Korea, they don't have weapons to shoot back at them. Those are our weapons to shoot back at them. So the question is, will it happen? First off, the leader of North Korea, when he died, Kim Jong-il, before that, when he was dying, he said he wanted to wipe San Diego off the map. We live in San Diego. And he tried to send a missile here. It didn't even come close. His son says he will accomplish that within the next 5 years.
I have absolutely no worries.
Oh, yeah, I'm not worried about that either. But they really can wipe out South Korea.
People say lots of things to try and seem a lot stronger than they are. And North Korea has got a history of doing that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I think that ultimately, if there really is a chance of nuclear war, we need to do what we can to stop that from happening.
Well, then we should talk about that. Well, go ahead. Finish.
And, the thing is, I mean, you start dropping atomic bombs and no good comes from that. We've seen that. We've done that. We're guilty of doing that. And
yeah, well, I'm glad we did. We saved a lot of lives, both sides.
American lives. We saved a lot of lives, but there was a humongous cost in that. As a matter of fact, our show is named after.
I know. Yeah,
it's named after those. It's funny because about every week, it seems like every week we get an email going, do you guys know that?
Of course.
It's very funny, and we've never even brought that up before, but it's weekly that we get emails. Do you guys even know what
Of course we know.
And we've
that.
even had some people that were really offended by it,
So
move on.
Let's move on from the nuclear thing. So basically we're talking about North and South Korea, but let's talk about in the same category, just a whole world away. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Israel and Iran.
Right, that's been at the head of the news for a long time.
Well, because after last week, when President or Prime Minister Netanyahu was here at the UN and didn't meet with our president, I think he feels his back's against a wall. What do you think happens November 7th?
I don't know.
I mean,
Are you assuming that if Obama wins?
If President Obama won.
Do you think he will?
I don't know. I'm thinking he's got a really good shot because people are pretty stupid, but let's continue.
Well, they did vote. They did reelect George W. Bush, so I do agree people are stupid.
Please. You voted for President Obama because he was black. Makes you feel good.
You are so wrong.
Yeah.
You are so wrong.
Yeah, but you know what? It was really funny about that argument. Maybe it's not true to you. It is true to a lot of people.
It is true to some people, but I'll tell you what. I think just as many people voted against him because he's black.
Democrats?
We had people.
Well, Republicans are going to vote against him just because.
No, I think that you had just as many people that won't vote for him. You have people that vote for him just because he's black, and you will have just as many people vote against him because he's not black.
Do you feel proud that you voted for him because he's black?
No, that has nothing to do with it.
Is that something that you would tell your grandkids in 20 years from now?
I voted for him because he's black?
You voted the first black president in.
No.
You wouldn't say that?
No.
Well, that's good. I'm glad because a lot of people say that that's one thing they want to say. Okay, but
I don't think that had anything to do with it.
Dropping that. Oh, okay. I think it did. Dropping that
for
away.
Me.
Let's go. Not for you. Let's go back to Israel. Okay. You're Israel. You were told repeatedly by the president of Iran that he's going to wipe you off the face of Earth. The president of Iran goes to the UN General Council and says, as soon as we can, we're wiping them off the face of the Earth.
I'm not sure if they will. I think that there's going to be a lot of backlash.
Yeah, but you sit there and tell people this, and then you come onto U.S. soil.
Yeah, and Kim Jong-il has said that he's going to wipe out San Diego.
He's never been to UN and tell the UN that, hey, look, as soon as I can, I'm going to wipe them all out. I mean... I think it's different. Kim Jong-il, everybody had always dismissed him as a sociopath and just crazy, and he never leaves his country. But this particular guy was on the streets of New York telling people that someday there will be no Israel because he has the ability to wipe them out.
Well,
so do you think he's idle threatening?
I think a little bit of that.
Okay,
I think a little bit of that.
But do you think there's any truth behind it?
There might be. I think it's more idle threat, but at the same time, we can't just dismiss it as idle threat because,
of course not.
You know,
they are trying to get their weapon. They are trying. They've let everybody know they're going to have it.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, it's funny because I'm ultimately my thoughts on nuclear weapons are my thoughts on gun control. I'm really torn on it in the sense that I am more comfortable if nobody has any, because if nobody has any, then they can't be used.
If nobody had them, but that just doesn't happen.
I am more comfortable if only the U.S. And although we're the only ones who have ever dropped it and used
They'll never use it again.
I have faith that they won't use it again. And I don't know about these other guys. But at the same time, who are we to say you can't have it? We can, but you can't. And it's the same thing.
Because we don't preach that we're going to wipe people off the face of the earth.
But I feel the same thing with guns. You know, I am more comfortable when people aren't walking around with guns, but I have a hard time saying who are we to say you can't, you can't. I don't know. We can get into guns. We can get into guns later because I
love the gun topic, but the question, the reason why I was going back to this is, what happens? President Obama wins re-election. Mm-hmm. What happens?
I don't know what happens. You tell me.
No, I'm asking you.
I don't know.
All right. So if you're President Netanyahu, you put yourself in his place. You've already been told. You have been you can't talk to the president because he's on a talk show.
My guess is this will come up on the foreign policy debates.
Oh, I'm sure it will.
So
but
it'll be.
If I was President Netanyahu or Prime Minister, you attack. You have to. You have to, because you know you're not going to get support. The support hasn't been there for 4 years. You've been told you're not going to get the support. You're not going to have the support.
I don't think he's been told he's not going to get the support.
Absolutely. Well, let me ask you a question. Let's go back to The View. Let's go back to the president going on The View rather than meeting with world leaders.
Well, first of all, that was... I read a little bit on that because I thought it was ridiculous how much Fox News was blowing that up.
It wasn't just Fox.
Fox News was posting a picture showing that he'll pose with a pirate. Did you see that?
No.
Instead of that? That's all bogus, by the way.
And it wasn't just Fox. It was all the networks have talked about it.
He's met with him more than any other leader has.
Yeah, but no, he has not.
Yes, he has.
Then more than any other leader has.
Yes, during the time that he's been president. In the last 4 years, he's met with him more than any other leader. And they're making a big deal about this one time.
It's not just Fox. All of the networks, except for ABC, obviously, because they got his ratings, have said no president during a UN summit like that hasn't met with world leaders. Now, I'm not just talking about him. I'm talking about other world leaders that feel slighted.
So you think that he just said, I don't want to meet with you guys. I'm too good for that?
Well, I have a question. Why did he do that?
Well, maybe he was busy.
You know why? Campaign trail.
Well, which is a problem. If that's the reason, I've talked about that, and I have a solution for that. If anybody wants to listen to me,
no, nobody wants to listen to yours.
Littleboy at phatmanandlittleboy.com. You email me, and I'll link you to my solution.
Yes,
I think we should listen to Jason a little bit.
Yeah,
because if it is because he's too busy campaigning, Jason's right. You should not. Littleboy's right. You should not be able to campaign if it conflicts with your current obligation.
But you can't. They don't have a choice. They don't have a choice, and it's the problem with the system.
I have a question
for you. This is not an Obama problem. This is a system problem.
All right, so that's where we're putting there, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did candidate Romney meet with him? Because he did.
I don't know. Maybe because he thought that would give him a political advantage.
Oh, you think that was the only reason why he did?
First, yeah, I think just about everything these guys do is to get elected. I think 99% of what both these guys do is to get elected. That's it.
It didn't help him. for the fact that
it helped
other
him
networks...
with you and made you think, oh, look, he'll meet with him and
I was going to vote for him
winning.
anyway. It didn't change my mind at all.
It gave that impression.
But
He'll
it
meet
didn't
with him, but
change my
Obama.
mind at
It's
all.
more important to him. Nothing's going to change your mind.
No, well, that's
Nothing's
it. But it's not
change
going to
your
change
mind.
any of the Republicans' minds if he met with them or not.
It might change the undecided votes.
Ah.
Let me tell you, everything is done to get elected. That's all these guys are doing.
All right, let's go to the next one. Let's go to Pollster.
Okay.
Pollster, under oath, admits that he skewed the results to show his candidate in a better light.
Now, explain this to me, because it's interesting the way you wrote this. Skewed the results. How do you mean?
Well, when pollsters can take information from any part of any poll, so they don't have to take the actual poll. So what happened here, apparently, the word skewed wasn't the correct word. It was in what do you say, embellished?
Cherry-picked.
Cherry-picked, right.
All he did is what any of these, which first of all, I don't know why people put so much stock in polls.
Well, that's what this whole thing is going to do. It's going to open up a poll conversation.
He cherry-picked polls that he knew weren't as accurate as others to make things look better, to make
Edwards,
his name, John Edwards, feel like he was in the race, even when almost everybody knew that he wasn't, or nobody knows, of course, but everybody said, he really doesn't have a chance.
Well, did you read the whole thing? Is it also about the pollster about Al Gore too? But continue.
Yeah. All of them do that. Nobody wants to hear the bad. Nobody wants to have a meeting and say, hey, guys, we suck. We're not going to get elected. First of all these people working for him are getting paid. So their ambition is to keep the campaign rolling, correct?
Correct, sure.
So he's going to do everything in his power to keep the campaign rolling. Now, when you wrote this, you said skewed, and it made it look like it was the way you wrote it made it look like he changed numbers and stuff. He didn't do any of that stuff.
That was the headline. I didn't write it. That was just the
whoever
headline.
Wrote this,
yeah.
Shame on whoever wrote that then, because they made it seem a little bit more dastardly than it was. All he did was, there are thousands of polls out there. You can find thousands of polls on who's ahead in the election, Obama and Romney. Now, you're going to find many of them that are a certain way. A lot of them are close, and you will find one or two that are going to tell your guys exactly what they want to hear. So those are the ones that he's going to grab, and that's what he did here.
So the reason why I brought this thing up is because I wanted to ask you today. There was a poll out by the Gallup organization, which they're all the same. 70% of Americans believe that polls skew towards one party or the other. Now, if 70% think that, there isn't 70% of Americans that are one party or the other.
Let me tell you something, and my boy Darren said something very similar to this. I don't believe any of these polls. You know why? Because none of them have asked me what I think.
Oh, that's true. Absolutely.
Okay?
I've never done a poll.
None of them have asked me what I think. Just like none of them ask me what I watch on TV. None of these ratings ask me where my radio is tuned.
That's true.
Where it should be tuned, 1700 a.m. at 9 o'clock on Saturdays, by the way. None of them ask me what radio stations I listen to. None of them ask me what I watch. And none of them ask me who I'm voting for. So I take all these polls with a grain of salt. When it says Obama's leading, it makes me a little bit happier just because that's what you want to hear, of course. But is that definite? No. If you went by what the polls are saying right now, then Obama could go to bed and go to sleep and wake up and become the president because he has got such a ginormous lead. Do I take any stock in those? No, because it's all BS, and people are going to vote, and that's when we're going to find out.
Yeah, because the polls at this exact time with Reagan Carter showed Carter leading by a huge amount.
Yeah, some of them did.
Most of all,
you can take five different polls.
But then he ended up winning by 12 points. So.
5 different polls that ask the exact same question and get 5 different answers.
Right.
So why does anybody really make that much big deal about the polls?
Why? That's my question to you.
Because news is for profit now. That's why. Because it's about ratings. It's about selling ad space. That's what about everything is about. And they need to get people excited.
Do you think it's skewed towards one party or the other, like 70% of Americans? Because now I'm asking you. This is the poll I'm asking you.
You think polls are... I think that...
I've never been called, so I can't do it.
Neither have I.
I can't say it. Of course, then again, I'm a working person who wouldn't answer it anyway. If somebody called me and asked me, I wouldn't tell them anything.
I will tell you this. I think whoever puts the poll on can steer the poll in the way that they want the results to be, if they had an agenda.
Okay. Then that was my question.
Yeah.
So like the rest of the people, as 70% apparently say, do you believe it's politically motivated?
I think some of them are. Sure. I think there are some out there that aren't. I think there are some that are legitimately trying to get legitimate results, and I still don't think those results are legitimate because you ask one person and it counts for 10,000 people.
Right.
You know?
You don't know that.
As random as you want to be, you can't be perfect. So it doesn't matter, even if it's not skewed, even if you are honestly just down the middle, which is, I think, impossible anyways, but even if that was your intention, and that's what, you're not going to get exact results because you can't be, because we're so diverse in the United States anyways, and nobody has asked me.
I'm asking you.
I'm
doing an informal poll.
I am voting for Obama.
Wait a minute,
you already know that.
Would you answer if a pollster called you? Would you tell them anything?
I don't think so. You know what? Whenever anybody calls, and not because I'm stuck on privacy or something, I just don't feel like wasting. To me, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. Is that the puppy dog?
I think that was our dog. We have a dog in the studio now. It's a great dog.
That's okay.
Yeah.
What was the question?
The question was, would you actually
Would you
answer?
answer if someone asked you,
when
a pollster asked you?
Well, I asked the producer the same question.
When I get like a call for when they say you want to take a survey, I always decline. I try and be nice. I try not to be a jerk to people on the phone.
You?
No, these are surveys.
That could be the same.
Okay.
That could be it. We don't know what they say when they call.
Right.
No one's ever called me and said, "Hey, I'm from Rasmussen doing a Rasmussen poll," or I'm from Gallup.
I actually get
call
emails from I think from the Rasmussen or maybe from Gallup. I get emails from both of them. I delete them.
Yeah.
I delete them.
Now, I don't answer.
I'll tell you what. I will exit poll if I've never taken an exit poll. I've never taken an exit poll in my whole life. But if they ask me, I'd tell them. As long as it's just one or two questions. I don't want to sit there for 20 minutes and answer 57 questions. And you know what I hate about, you know why I don't like to take these surveys? I'm going off topic like I always do. It's because they never are yes or no, black or white. It's
very good,
very likely, somewhat likely, kind of. I could take one of those tests 30 times and you would get 30 different answers because who knows? It depends on how you're feeling. It depends on if you're having a pissy day or not.
It depends on how they want the poll to come out.
Yeah.
That's true, too. So, Producer Jen, let's ask you.
More likely, less likely.
Would you answer a poll?
Are you more likely to answer a poll?
Would you answer a poll?
I'm less likely to answer a poll.
Yeah, I am absolutely not likely to answer.
I think it depends on if it's. I think I agree with Littleboy. It's yes or no questions.
And
ask
quick.
me, get out of my way, leave me alone, let me go on.
I would
with
absolutely.
my life.
If I looked at an exit poll and they said, did you vote for Obama or Romney or somebody else? I'd say Obama.
Well, that's easy.
Yeah,
that's an easy question.
I would, but I'm not like all worried about my secrecy and all that type of stuff. It doesn't matter to me. Some people are really stuck on that. They want to be secret, which is fine. That's your prerogative.
On a political campaign, and it was for a local seat. And it
councilman,
was for councilman, and it was a Republican councilman.
What a shock!
We had a caller list of people you can call. We would ask them questions just like that.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't get Republicans to tell us anything. So I'm wondering if it is that way. If they're, because Democrats are more feely, and Republicans are a little more closed off. I wonder if, other than you, because you just don't have time for it. It's not that you don't want to tell them, I almost killed a little plane.
It's not that I don't have time, because everybody, I get real tired of all these people saying, I don't have time to do this, I don't have time to do that, I don't have time to do this. You have time if it's important enough to you. Taking a survey where I have to say whether I'm less likely or more likely to eat green beans, it's not important enough.
No, I understand. What I'm saying is you don't want to make the time for it. That's why you would say no.
Right.
But some people, like myself, would say no because of privacy issues.
Okay. And Phatman.
Yes, go ahead.
I worked on that campaign with you.
Oh, that's right.
And it was not just a councilman. It was for a bigger seat.
Well, that's true.
And it was interesting that Republicans...
No, it wasn't a councilman. It was a congressman.
Congressman. It was for Congress.
Yeah. Sorry.
When you called them to find out if they had made a decision or however the question was worded that we were asking, I will agree with you that most of them, unless they personally knew the candidate, which some of them did,
they wouldn't say.
They wanted nothing to do with answering anything.
It's my private decision.
Exactly,
I don't tell anybody anything.
Their right not to tell anyone anything.
No, of course they don't have to. But what I was asking is, do you think it's a party deal?
Isn't that big of a deal?
It's a very big deal to me. So, okay, well, let's move on. I don't know what time frame we're looking at right now, but I think we're probably getting close.
Yeah, we're getting real close.
Oh, 32 minutes. Okay, well, let's go. I was going to talk about Sophia Davison, who stole her car.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I didn't even know why you put that on there. Was it just to get for us to be able to chuckle at something?
Yeah, because it's hysterical. Oh, we got to talk about it. All right, we got to talk about it. Okay, so this young lady, she's 21 years old, Sophia Davison. Matter of fact, I got to open up the story real quick so I make sure I get the right one.
I'm going to give the gist of it, and then you
ahead.
tell me. Basically, her SUV was being repossessed.
Yeah.
And while the tow truck was hooking up her SUV, she threw a fit, and I guess she jumped in the tow truck and stole both that and the SUV.
And then crashed it.
And then they had to break the window to get her out.
She destroyed that vehicle.
I didn't see any
all
pictures.
Of the vehicles. She was towing her vehicle. Okay. The repo guy had hooked up her car.
Right.
So when she took off, her car was connected, except...
Now, technically, once he hooks it up, it isn't her car anymore.
No, it's his. It belongs to
the finance company.
Yeah.
That is not her vehicle anymore. The second that thing's hooked up, it's not hers anymore.
Or even touched.
Yeah, okay.
In California, it's even touched.
I know that it ain't hers anymore, that's for sure.
So, but anyway, she took off. She had cops chasing her for quite some time. She's pregnant. She felt that she was desperate, and she had no way out of it. Now, I understand that, except that, really, come on. You know what I mean?
First of all,
she needed her car for work. Did she really think she wasn't going to get
exactly
caught?
How
irresponsible? Is this
irresponsible?
on the show Cops or Lizard Lick?
Yeah.
I know.
How irresponsible of someone who's 8 months pregnant to get in a high-speed chase. I don't care how
and she's gonna do a year.
desperate you are. That is so irresponsible to do something like that. Now, I wonder.
She's going to do a year?
Yeah.
What do you
So she's going to have a baby in prison.
Well, that's exactly what we're getting into.
What
with
do
this
you
whole thing.
think about taking somebody like that and charging them with child endangerment?
I think you can.
Absolutely.
I think you absolutely can. Except that if you did that, that would set a precedent for the child being a human.
Well,
and that would screw up.
I think it depends on.
I think it would be great.
I think
but
it
would
depends.
Screw up
I think
the
it
whole
depends
abortion
on.
laws.
I think it depends on where everybody has their own definition of.
Well, no, the
when
government now
human
does.
life
Hey,
starts.
Batman?
Yes.
People have been charged for murder of an unborn
That's right.
viable fetus.
Right.
That
and
is
at 8
right.
months old, chances are
8 months old, that's a
extremely high
viable-
that nothing's going to go wrong.
Except there is
Right.
partial birth abortion, which can
Well,
happen
that's a
all the
whole
way up to
nother-
not
9
at 8
months.
months.
Not at 8 months.
It can happen up to 8 months.
Partial birth abortions don't happen up at 9 months.
I'm pretty sure it can happen up to 8
I
months.
think you are way wrong on
I
that.
hope I'm wrong. I really do.
Well,
You are wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I would.
We
I would throw the book at this woman with
Yeah.
everything I could, except now we can talk about the kid who's going to be born in prison.
right.
And now where does the kid go?
Well, let me tell you
Actually,
something.
they let him stay with them. I know that.
In some prisons, they
But
do.
still,
let me
the
tell you
kid's in
something. This
prison.
kid might be better off.
Oh, I know. Someone
Not being with
stupid.
somebody that is willing to, I mean, we've all had lapses in judgment. I mean, we've all
Not like that.
No, exactly. There comes a point where it's a ridiculous lapse in judgment. I mean, I've done something and then like 5 minutes later go, boy, that was stupid. Now whether that's putting a lot of gasoline on the fire and throwing a match, or trying to light your barbecue, or
Being
there's,
friends with the fat man?
Being friends with the fat man.
No, that one. No, you can't say that one because that's something you do constantly.
I know. I constantly. That's one that I
would just
constantly
be-
make
that
the
would just
same
be
mistake
ignorance.
over and over.
Yeah.
That is, I am very ignorant in that
Yeah.
in that fact. But there comes a point where you can't call it lapse in judgment anymore, and it's just ridiculous
Stupidity.
endangerment. And that child.
What about the guy that she almost ran over? The guy was hooking up the back of the car.
Yeah, he's
Should she
just
not
trying to
be
do his
charged
job.
with murder?
Is he
Attempted.
dead?
Attempted.
Hey, how far did she go?
Very far.
So at some point she didn't realize this might be stupid and I might injure myself, my baby, somebody else.
Sometimes
It
once
doesn't
you're
happen that
too
way.
far
She was
in,
committed.
Yeah, once you're too far in,
She
the thing that
she
really
was kind of like what do they call that? Scientologist.
Yes, exactly.
was too
level.
far in.
She was level 6.
Yeah, she was too
She
deep.
was in level 6. I'll tell you. I don't know.
I want to say this is it. We got to go into another story real quick. But I was just saying this because I was thinking I had to throw a stupid one in there.
I'm happy you did.
Yeah. Bill O'Reilly,
Jon Stewart.
90-minute debate,
Yeah.
October 6th, $4.99. Would you watch it?
If I was home and I had the time, I'd watch it. If I don't watch it live, I'll probably try and find it. I'd be interesting to. I'm a huge Jon Stewart fan. I'm not a big fan of Bill O'Reilly. I like to see him because on his show he tends to bully people who disagree with him. If you've watched his show, it'd be interesting to see where he's talking with somebody who they're on equal footing, because on his show he has the upper hand because it's his show and he can cut mics and all that type of stuff. So I'd be interested to see.
Are you saying I have the upper hand here? I can.
You
cut
just
your
have
mic.
a louder voice, and you just when you start to get mad, you start yelling and screaming, so nobody else can talk. And I wasn't actually referring to us; I was just referring to him. And it'll be interesting to see him actually debate somebody on equal footing. He's a very, very intelligent guy. He just thinks differently than I do. He has a different philosophy, just like I have a different philosophy than you do.
And Jon Stewart?
And Jon Stewart is closer to me, but I don't think I agree with everything. But I think it'd be really Jon Stewart is very witty and very fast, and I think it'll be an enjoyable debate.
A reporter?
No, I don't think so.
Does this give him more
legitimacy? Neither's Bill O'Reilly.
Bill O'Reilly has a whole life in.
He's not a reporter right now. He does a show.
No, but his whole life was dedicated towards broadcasting,
current affair and stuff like that.
And also he's
been a reporter in the past. Bill O'Reilly is not a reporter now. I'm not
gonna say reporter. Let's say he is an actual news commentator. Would you say a journalist?
He's not a journalist.
That's the word I'm looking for.
He's a news commentator. I like that. And
what
so
about
is Jon Stewart. Journalist? I don't think so.
Why?
I don't know. That's just I don't think there are journalists out there anymore, to be honest with you. I don't.
So Jon Stewart is a comedian. He says he's a comedian.
Right.
We had talked about him before on this.
Sure.
That don't give me your news from me. I'm a comedian.
He's a political commentator and a comedian.
I'm a comedian.
But
he doesn't say he's a commentator. He says he's a comedian.
But he makes.
Does this help him? Give him more legitimacy? This was O'Reilly's idea.
I don't think that he's out there to get legitimacy. I think he's out there to they say they're gonna half of the profits. Proceeds will go to charity. I'm
sure they're both taking a cut.
I think that it's just a way for them to get their names out there. Probably the way they looked at it is, this is an opportunity for us to both get more exposure, to entertain people, and it would just be fun, just like us. We do this because it's fun.
That's true.
It's fun. And if we have an opportunity to make a little bit of money and donate it to charity, then it makes us look even better. Honestly.
That's true.
Honestly.
Okay, one more real quick thing I wanted to say real quick. Market share. We know what market share is. You and I both know what market share is.
Okay.
Ratings, stuff like that.
Market
share. We know what market share is. We understand how that works, ratings and stuff like that. Last week, Fox hit a 33 market share.
Okay.
Huge market share.
All right.
Now, we know, and I'll admit, that they are on the conservative side. All right? I'll admit that. If your other network's scrambling for market share, and one network goes out there and gets 33%, which is almost unheard of in networks. Networks are happy with 7%. The Super Bowl gets 18%. So if they're getting 30%, that's pretty huge.
Okay.
You're another network like MSNBC. What do you do if you're the money guy? You don't care about politics. You're just the money guy.
If you are just out there looking to gain market, what you want to do is maybe be a little bit more. I don't want to say the word outlandish, but what you want to do is you want to say stuff that's going to get you more attention. This you hadn't talked about, so I didn't know that we were going to talk about this.
I just dropped it up because I forgot about it.
Which is fine. I'm not, saying that you sprung it on me or nothing, but because 33% if they have the 33% market share, whatever that means, that doesn't mean they're any better than anybody else.
No.
That doesn't mean that they even do a good job. That just means that they have that many people that are entertained by them, because this is not a news business anymore. It is not.
Yes,
it's an entertainment
business. My question
to
you was...
So what you are going to do if you're in MSNBC is you're going to try to be more entertaining, because that's what it's all about anyways.
Are they piping to the wrong people? That's the question. Because... we have talked about this before. We had said MSNBC is definitely on the liberal side. As much as you say Fox is on one side, they're on the other side. Yes, you've admitted to that.
You actually said.
Have. But what I'm saying is, does other networks, now they're all scrambling when the next network up is less than 1/3 of that.
Okay.
They're scrambling, saying, "What the heck? If these people got 33% and we're lucky to get 7%, then what do? Do they change? Do they keep the ship on the right course? What do they do?
I don't know. They try and get more entertaining. They try and do things that will be more entertaining.
And you think it's just entertainment?
That's what it's all about. People don't watch Fox people say they watch Fox News to get the news, but you are not going to watch. They watch it because they enjoy what they're watching.
Well, yeah.
Or it is absolutely pissing them off. It's the Howard Stern effect as well. Because I'm sure people like myself, I watch Fox News every morning. I watch Fox and Friends.
You watch it more than me.
While I'm running on
Fox and Friends is, a matter of fact,
while I'm watching,
the
running on the
number
treadmill.
one show on television.
I know we got to wrap it up. You should
Okay.
watch when they do Fox and Friends on SNL. It's hilarious. It is hilarious.
All right. Well, anyway, that was a good question I wanted to ask. We kind of got it out there. It's not exactly what I wanted to, get from you.
I never give you what you want.
No, you never do because you're contrary. But anyway. I am your host, Phatman. You can always get me at Phatman at phatmanandlittleboy.com or producer Phatman on Twitter.
You can email me at littleboy@phatmanandlittleboy.com, or you can tweet me direct at lbhost.
I'd like to open up our phone lines next week. We do have a whole brand new phone system here.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's ever going to happen.
Well,
We never have the chance to do that.
No.
Little Boy, good show?
I had a good time. Hopefully we get to do next week. Hopefully you don't have your surgery.
Well, actually, I hope I do, but if I don't, we're on there. So should I say take care this time?
No,
or should
don't
I say
steal my
see you
line.
this-
I'm already
okay.
pissing enough at you.
All right. Hey, we'll see you real soon.
Take care.